Are we turned on? We're still not on.
I want to see what that.
Hello? No mic. No. Are we turned on? All right. Thank you. So it's 6:03, and we will now ask Reverend Tim Stair to come and lead us in an invocation. He is the pastor at Elevate Life Church from Oakleaf. Thank you. You'll please rise.
Heavenly Father, we love you a lot, and we're just grateful for all your goodness toward us. Thank you, Father, for bringing us through the storm. And I pray, Father, that even as our schedules and structures have been interrupted, that we would remember Luke chapter 5, where Jesus was teaching, doing the work of education, and some men busted through the roof to drop a paralyzed man in front of him. We would realize that sometimes the interruptions of our plans are invitations to your greater purposes. I pray, Father, that we would that even when our structures get messed up, that our priority is always students and it's always people above our programs. I thank you for these leaders who sacrifice so much. I pray, Father, that you would guide us and give us wisdom. I pray for unity in our county and our community in an age and a moment when so many would want us to be divided along so many lines. Father, help us to come together and to always keep in mind that we serve what's best for this county and that we serve you. We ask these things in your great name. Amen.
Thank you. We're going to do something a little different, so have a seat for a moment. I'm going to open our meeting, and then I'm going to invite two very special young men up to do our pledge. So at this time, I call to order the school board meeting of September 26, 2017, and I welcome the citizens of Clay County. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children in Clay County. If you wish to address the board, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card, which you will find located in the back of the room, indicating the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about, and turn it in promptly. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comments section under presentation from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. Thank you. So we have a very special thing tonight. Normally we invite a pastor or reverend, a priest, somebody to come and do our invocation, and then at the same time do our pledge. But we have two students from Coppergate Elementary who I think everybody is aware of, who have just shown the most exemplary respect for our American flag. And so we have invited them to come and do our pledge tonight. So if Isaac Davis and Nathan Helmuth would meet me at the podium. I think we're on. It's all you. Oh, and let me introduce. This is Nathan, and this is Isaac. Would you like to hold the microphone while our flag is right behind us, and lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stay up here. Now, our board and our superintendent all are so impressed and so proud with you. I'd like to come down and get a picture taken with you. There's some photos up here of the young men taking the flag down, and there's a picture of them in the pouring rain, which you can see it's the furthest one on the far left. And we are so impressed with the amount of respect that you have shown and the maturity to protect that flag and continue your job. Most people would say, oh, I'm melting and run, but no, you didn't. So we also have a certificate that we'd like to present to both of you. Isaiah, this is for you. Shake your hand. We're so proud of you. Thank you. And Nathan, this is for you. Thank you. And this is Miss Gilhausen, Miss Bola, Miss Studdard, and our superintendent, Mr. Davis. Anybody have anything they'd like to say?
Let me tell you, we are so proud of you boys, and you know, it's a little bit after the fact since we had to delay our board meeting, but it couldn't come at a more perfect time as tonight. Don't you agree?
Mr. Davis?
And we oftentimes talk about respect and, you know, about how we are brought up as young men, young leaders, young women. And these two individuals definitely have gotten the right parent at home. So the parents of these two gentlemen, please stand up for a minute. And I want to recognize you for your hard work and thank you for what you're doing to build role models within this community. Thank you.
Thank you. We are so proud of you. And this is the first time that we have had somebody come, a student, and lead us in the pledge. So we're honored to have you both here tonight. Thank you. All right. Thank you. It just makes your heart smile when you see students stepping up to the plate like that. It's just wonderful. So you're probably wondering why we have Miss Condon on the video there. And she is out of town in Washington. I'm hearing myself. Can they? Okay, I think they got it. She's in Washington, D.C. at the National School Board Association on school board business. So the first item that we have is we put it on the agenda to authorize Board Member Betsy Condon's attendance on the 26th by electronic media, and this gives her the authority to vote on all her items tonight. So I will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Ms. Studdard, a second by Ms. Gilhausen. Wondering why we have Ms. Condon. Any discussion?
Please, no.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, Betsy, welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, it works.
It's official. So next item on our agenda. That's going to drive me crazy if
Wait.
I keep hearing me. Can you
Well,
guys do something about the feedback?
Ms. Karakis, it didn't come up for a vote.
Mine didn't either.
It should be right now. Mine is.
Mine just
No,
did.
I see yours is up, mine's not up.
Mine's not up.
And I've gone, did you refresh?
Okay.
Were you able to vote yet?
Ms. Bola, is yours working?
No. Our Agenda Plus isn't working.
Go ahead and just log out, and then let's try that one more time, sorry.
Just log completely out.
Yes, ma'am. And then the Chrome window.
You're welcome.
There it goes. I've got mine.
You'll have to tell me if this is working or not. I don't know.
Oh, here we go. No, this says Florida Healthy School District Award. Ms. Bush? Oh, she voted for me. Okay, okay, thank you.
So we'll move on to our next agenda item, which, Mr. Superintendent, would you? Sorry, no, we're not going to do that. That's already done. I would like to mention, I'd like everybody to turn around and look at the artwork that has been put up in our room now. We've been talking about it for a while, that we'd like every month to have different artwork displayed. And this artwork is displayed by Charles E. Bennett. And the art teacher, Erica Gallo, has supplied all of this for us, and our own Miss Bush has put all of this up. And she did a great job, and it looks beautiful, and I hope that every month we will have different artwork from different schools, so that elementary, junior high, high school will all be on display. We will leave this up for the October 5th meeting, since it's just a week away. So, but when you get a chance, walk around and look at it, and just something nice for the kids who are doing all this and the parents to be able to see their stuff on display here at our meetings. I mean, this is the school district, and it's all about kids, so we should have the kids' artwork on display. So I just want to say thank you, Ms. Bush, for arranging that and taking care of it. Our next item is recognitions and awards. Mr. Davis?
Thank you, and through the chair, I wanted to stand down here this evening because there's a number of individuals that I really, truly wanted to acknowledge in this community. As you know, over the last couple of weeks, we have really suffered some difficult times in this community, and we were impacted by a hurricane in a way that we have never been impacted before. And I'm one of these guys that sits around going, "Oh, it's not going to hit us. We'll have a couple branches down. We'll be able to rock and roll and have school." But we were truly significantly impacted in this county. And I will tell you this is my first time in a leadership role in this district. And in my 10 months, you know that you have individuals that drive the work from law enforcement, from fire and rescue, from the EOC. But when you get a chance to actually work side by side these women and gentlemen, I really got a chance to see the great work. And I was really blown away about the ability for our community to show strength in a time of need, and I was really greatly impressed by the work that these individuals took on in a short period of time in order to get us back and operational within our county. And the first individual that before we do this, I would like to show a little slideshow. That just shows a little bit of the imagery that we were impacted in this county, and then acknowledge some individuals who really helped us get to a part where we return back to normalcy. These are images of our impact in our county. Individuals lost their homes, they lost their belongings, their cars. The governor was with us and our team together in order to problem solve and decision make. We really don't understand what we have until you lose it. And the individuals that surround you who can build and create a helping hand in order for us to get back to normalcy within our school district and within our county. The National Guard was here to help and assist. And many times, Mr. Ward and the team had to be in front to communicate overly with our stakeholders to bring them security for our work. And Clay Electric alone was outstanding. With thousands and thousands without power, this is what we should see daily in our community. The sense of care, the sense of hope, the sense of collectiveness as we move forward. Our shelters were awesome. We had 5, and then we had a chance to do post work. We had individuals work every single day. JJ coming and unpacking 253 trailer of supplies for our staff that were donated in order to help and assist our employees in our communities. So hats off to our community, our students, our parents, our caregivers, our support staff for bringing us back to a place that we can feel comfort and that we can feel united. And that's exactly what this team that I will acknowledge will do. And they did. And in the last, every day I got this. Are we coming back to school? Are we coming back to school? This is what I got every single day. So, all that to say is every day someone called me, we're going to school, we're going to school. I really want to go to school, but we can't. Whether it's a community member, a parent, a caregiver, a board member, every single day when water's up to here. But nonetheless, tonight, I want us to acknowledge this hard work. This is their role and responsibilities. Yes, I get it, I understand it. But they were heroes in a time of need in our county. The first person I want to acknowledge is our Clay County Sheriff Daryl Daniels and his team. Can you please come up? And your team. I've got to say it, these are, everyone I acknowledge are my champions of change for the month of September. Usually I like one of the steps so I can look taller, just kidding.
I'm impressed. I'm very happy about that. And Mr. Connor. And Mr.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And let me tell you, this individual that I want to recognize next is, when you're every day grinding at the EOC and so many people are coming in a room like this and you're problem solving, you're directing, and you're trying to get updates and you're working with the governor and the national, with FEMA and everything, this is a good man, but I didn't realize what he did every single day. And I always talk about first round draft picks. If I had an allocation, which I don't, I would hire this man. Because he is a front runner, he is a good man, he's a hard worker, and he did a great job with his decision making. And that is Mr. John Ward, Director of Emergency Management. He did awesome things. Take that with you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I got trouble.
Maybe.
Better get on the second.
thought I saw him get one of those lapel mics before, and I thought,
Code 876er. I'd have one of those. Kim, can you get me one of those radios? The other thing is, as you saw on the slideshow, and I'm sorry, I didn't do a superintendent update, so I don't mean to be long-winded in the sense, but I want to recognize people for great work. These individuals will spend countless hours at their shelters to open up for the community so that we can house individuals that Mr. Ward talked about to be able to come and have a sense of a comfort every single night and not be in a situation where they may be in a potential danger in their homes. We know a lot of people still stayed, and the team had to go get them. The sheriff and everyone in the EOC had to go get them, but these individuals work hard to stay. And I want to acknowledge the schools and have all of them come up when I ask you to come up. You can bring your teams or whomever, but thank you for opening your schools. Thank you for being there. Thank you for problem solve with the sheriff's office and the EOC in order to make this happen. And that is, Clay High School with Principal Kerry Dix, Keystone Heights High School with Mr. Eric McWilliams, Lake Asbury Junior High School with Principal Becky Cooper as of last night. Miss Murphy, they called her Cooper. Orange Park High School with Clayton Anderson and Wilkinson Elementary School and Heather Tito, and then all the other principals that were here to help, Miss Halter, Melanie Sanders, Miss Tito, Mrs. Winkler, Mike Elia. I'll probably miss someone, but thank y'all so much, Mr. Williams, Mr. Faulkner. Thank y'all so very much, Palmer, for being here, for everything that you do. So let's give a round of applause for everyone. And then district team, me, only being here 10 months, haven't been through this. We've had some team members that were unreal. I mean, I can't thank enough what individuals, and luckily, we have new people in the new positions who don't know the lefts and the rights and what's going on in the county. But I can tell you right now, Bruce Harbin, so awesome in his ability to, if I need something, he picks up the phone and makes it happen. He's all over the place. I need 5 or 6 of him, but he knows everyone, can get things done. His ability to really manage this project internally for us was outstanding, and I want to recognize him, and then I ask all of y'all to come up. Phil Hans has just come on board in this role, has done awesome work in the last 3 weeks, and as much as I love what you do in IT, you are in the right spot you need to be in. You are awesome in what you've done for us. And then Ms. Glover getting all the food preparation for letting us have it, and then also Tommy Fitzgerald and Daryl Sweat for making sure all the routes are there every day. Can I run a route? Can I get to school? Can I run a route? It's just so awesome when you work. But all of this work is led by a man who has worked relentlessly, and that is Dr. Kemp as well. So I want this whole team to please come up and let's celebrate their efforts for them to really getting us back to work. They work hours and hours and hours to get us up and running. So y'all please real fast come up. Thank you. Trying to move fast. And then I don't know if these individuals are here. Jimmy Johnson here? He decided he didn't want to come. Okay. Tim Harrison, Hank Strickland, Ricky Wilson. Any of those here? those individuals did great work for us unloading those trailers. So many thanks to them. And then also is Miss Robin. Oh, I got you, Miss Robin. Come on back up. Listen here, Bruce gets it done, but we really know who gets it done every single day. And that's just Miss Robin Gann for keeping him organized and us organized. So thank you so very much for doing it. And last one, this guy doesn't have to be with us because his job is to run climate and culture, and he does a good job of that. But I mean, every day I'm trying to go to the shelter, I see this guy, I'm like, what are you doing? I got this. And he goes, you know what, you can't do everything, so stop trying to do everything. And this is really it's my right hand in my work, without a doubt. And he is the guy that thinks, common sense, and I try to do my best, and he helps me go down that path. And that's Mr. Mike McCauley.
I'm guilty.
But we weren't eager to go to school. We were saying, are we canceling school? That's what this board member was saying.
Hey, me too. He's getting it from all of us.
That they're here.
And also, the Red Cross is here this evening. If we just want to, let's just give you a chance to stand up. Let's acknowledge the work that you do. I know you're going to be able a chance to speak in a little bit, but you can stand. Thank you so very much. Awesome.
The next item on our agenda, I actually skipped over, so I do apologize, and it's under recognitions and awards, and it would seem that Clay County School District has been recognized as a Florida Healthy School District at the silver level. So I would like to recognize Dr. Carla Shellnut, Associate Professor and Extension Nutritionist Specialist at the University of Florida.
Good evening. As a member of the Executive Committee of Florida Action for Healthy Kids, it is my pleasure to present this silver level Florida Healthy School District flag to the School District of Clay County. Florida Action for Healthy Kids is the Florida team for the National Action for Healthy Kids organization, which was created in 2002 in response to 16th U.S. Surgeon General David Satcher's public call to action to fight the national epidemic of childhood obesity and poor health. Florida Action for Healthy Kids provides training, technical assistance, grants, and other resources to schools, as well as recognizing health leaders among districts, schools, and staff. The Florida Coordinated School Health Partnership, Florida Action for Healthy Kids, Florida Association of District School Superintendents, and Florida Healthy Kids Corporation applaud your district for establishing a culture and climate in which students and staff can reach their personal potential and continuing to serve as a leader in the state in reducing and eliminating the barriers to learning, resulting in increased academic achievement. Clay County School District demonstrated the highest scores related to policies and processes in the following areas: physical education, 81%, health services, 96%, nutrition services and education, 82%. I'm especially proud of you for that one. Good job. Employee wellness, 89%. Thank you for remaining at the forefront of ensuring the future of a healthy Florida by creating health literate and health practicing students and staff that are fit, healthy, and ready to learn by being a Florida Healthy School District. We look forward to supporting your success with training, school, tools, and other resources. And so I have this flag. It stinks for some reason, but sorry, it really does. So if we could take a picture, they would like for me to have a picture with you guys.
Janice, which item is the art enrichment?
Which item is what?
I can't find it. Okay.
Thank you. And we have no presenters tonight. So our next item is our school showcase, and tonight we're spotlighting Orange Park High School, and our principal is Mr. Clayton Anderson.
Good evening. I just want to thank Mr. Davis, the school board, for allowing us to be here to spotlight Orange Park High School. I'll never forget the first time you run into people in the community, and the first thing I hear is, "Oh, you're the principal at Orange Park High School." And you know what I say? Yes, I am. Of course I am. And I'm very proud of that distinction, because that's what it's about. Orange Park is a lifeline to so many in our school system, but it starts with kind of how we run things. And I want to introduce my admin staff. I have Mr. Justin Faulkner, Mr. Anthony Williams, and Miss Christy Fowler with me tonight. These three push me every day, push our faculty and staff to make more, want more for our students. They work with our students very intentionally, and I couldn't do what we do. We couldn't do what we do without them. But also we have a few faculty and staff members up, and if they could just stand up, if they're here tonight, we got a few people here tonight. If you could stand up, these four right here, they deserve a round of applause, and many others. These right here are the champions of change. The ones that are in the classrooms are the champions of change. They're the ones that are moving instruction, working with our students on a daily basis to push for more, want for more, and that's what it is. That's what it's all about. Orange Park High School has been a big change over the last 14 years. I got there as a social studies teacher 14 years ago. We had roughly about 2,700 students. So now we're just south of 1,600. We got a 52-48% split and a rising Hispanic population. But what we're really working towards is moving our school. And when you want to move a school, you got to move it collectively and collaboratively, but you got to look at the numbers. So one of the things we've really been intentional on, if I can get this to go. There we go. One of the things we've been very intentional on is looking at our numbers and looking at our data. 3 years ago when I took over as principal, that first year we were at 484 points for the 15-16 school year. So we really wanted to show growth and really make growth. That first year we talked about turning our graveyard into a garden. A lot of people look at Orange Park High School and they see the rundown facilities, etc., but they don't know what's happening inside the walls. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So we started turning our graveyard into a garden. And year one we started beginning the expectations, building a common understanding and really ownership amongst our community and ourselves so we could build this school. Year two, as you see, that's when we started fertilizing. We started beginning with pushing more rigor into the students. We started watching as they excelled despite their circumstances and watched them begin to rise. And from year one to year two, we had a 28-point increase. But what you'll see is an increase in learning gains, lower quartile and achievement in both English and math and science, and social studies. And we do have our areas of opportunity. But when you look at areas of opportunity, we all have areas of opportunity. And regardless of what you see there, we look at it globally and say we have a lot of work to do, and we're ready to do that, and we're putting forth the effort. But with that growth, that becomes year three. This year, as we spoke to our faculty and staff, this is our harvest year. This is the year we really start making that difference. This is when we continue to stair-coast approach and continue to move instruction. And we do that through our common planning. We're doing that for intentionality and growth in our practice and really going to grow the concept of student ownership. The students own their work, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But as we continue through this year, we continue that staircase approach and really work to become that champion of change as we become in the fourth year at Orange Park. So that's our goal in the fourth year, to become those champions of change. But when you speak about Orange Park High School, I can talk numbers with you all day. We can talk and we can go through that. But when you speak about Orange Park High School, you got to look and understand that Orange Park High School is way more than numbers. It's way more. It's all about the climate and culture. It's about having that's created to continue to grow and foster. It's really about the relationships that are built. And when you talk about Orange Park High School and the relationships that are built, you have to come inside to see that. You got to walk in our school. And so we wanted to take you through a little tour of our school. We wanted you to understand what it's like to be a Raider. And with that being said, with open enrollment, and we developed a promotional video that we'd like to showcase tonight. We'd like to thank Dean Pena. He's a Clay County graduate who put this video together. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and welcome you to Orange Park High School. Welcome to Orange Park High School, home of the Raiders. Oftentimes here at Orange Park, we're judged by what the public eye might see, the dated facilities and the second oldest school in the district. With that being said, to truly look at Orange Park High School, you gotta come inside.
You got to talk to our faculty, our parents, and our students. There you'll get a different meaning of what it means to be a Raider. Here at Orange Park High School, we have the opportunity to meet the needs of 1,600 students. These students come to us from all walks of life and various backgrounds. In fact, our greatest attribute would have to be our diversity. With a 52-48% split and one of the largest Hispanic populations in Clay County, it is truly the melting pot of the county. They learn together as one Raider community. Students don't care what you know until they know that you care. The fact that we have a documented 54% of our students that are on free and reduced lunch, we realize that we must be prepared to make a difference in not only the education of the student, but also impact those barriers outside of school that often prevent or hinder student achievement. This is why we began our OP Outfitters program roughly 15 years ago. What began in a closet to provide gently used clothes to students in need has turned into so much more. Through community donations, faith-based partnerships, and many volunteer hours, any of our students in need have access to school-appropriate attire, school supplies, food for their family, as well as an area to wash their clothes while participating in our Suds and Studies program. Moving forward, we also house Clay County's only Dignity You Wear location, which through the amazing work of our school social workers, supports all 41 schools with new clothes for Clay County students. Here at Orange Park High School, we offer various career and college opportunities for each of our students. By offering model academies in the areas of health, engineering, and business, we are allowing students to build their vision or roadmap for their future.
All of our programs at CTE, be it nursing, carpentry, automotive, welding, all those things help prepare our kids and give them an advantage to be successful in a career versus a job. Opportunities that our kids have with the experiences they have in welding is that they can go to post-secondary via TOSA, JTEC, commercial diving academies, also the military, or straight onto a job. We have many companies come in and say, look, we want your kids, and I ask them why. They say because your kids are more prepared for life. They have great job etiquette and they understand the value of hard work.
Here at Orange Park High School, we have an advanced placement program that is competitive with the national average. In fact, our fine arts department is actually far exceeding the national average. Last year, we had a 100% pass rate in our Art 2D, 3D, and Drawing advanced placement exams. And these students are recognized throughout Clay County.
I got this job in 2000, and I've never wanted to leave. I mean, this is, when I talk to my friends who teach art, they don't have it as good as we have it at Orange Park. My administrators support me. I have all the supplies that I need. I mean, we don't have excess, but we have enough to do what we need to do. I like the students. I like this demographic of students. They're hungry to learn more, and they don't seem to take anything for granted.
Orange Park High School is also host to the inaugural St. John's River State Collegiate High School. In the second year of existence, this program allows students to graduate in 4 years with both their high school diploma as well as their associate's degree from St. John's River State College.
The collegiate high school program, the opportunities are it's amazing. Getting an associate's degree at the end of the 4 years has opened up so many doors and opportunities. I mean, the work is difficult, yes, but it's all gonna be worth it out in the end.
Our educators are willing to look into their data and have conversations with their peers to discuss how they can grow professionally. It is imperative that we as educators grow with our students and build their capacity while building our own.
Collaboration is essential, really. I mean, in every sense. We depend on each other emotionally. We depend on each other for ideas. Maybe something gets brought to light. Maybe I've been seeing it a certain way. Maybe someone else has been seeing things a certain way, and all of a sudden, a light bulb, and you just, it's energizing. Everything is all about the students, and I think they're realizing that, and they love being loved. I know that sounds cheesy, and that's what it is. There's an energy here, and you just have to be here. It's just a great time to be a Raider.
Here at Orange Park High School, we offer 34 clubs, 23 varsity, and 17 JV competitive sports. all providing an opportunity to meet the needs of the whole student and school experience.
Being an athlete and being a student has shaped how I function. It's made me more disciplined, and it's also made me more time efficient, and I procrastinate less because I get home later, and it's made me more well-rounded, and it's really fun too.
Well, when I first came here, I really was all about sports, and I cared about academics, but not as much as I did sports. And then, of course, I came as a freshman not knowing a lot, and that in junior high you could just really not focus on grades and stuff. So a lot of the staff members, and especially my coach, Coach K, he told me that I need to buckle down in class like how I do in sports, and I need to focus more on classes and know that that's a priority over basketball.
Teachers and coaches have shaped me by teaching me the right things of what to do and what not to do. Like for teachers, like say if I do something wrong, they'll show me the right way. And for coaches, they'll show me the same way, but more physically than academically. One thing that you can't really see when just by looking at the school or just driving by it is that we're just one family.
We thank you for coming along with us and learning a little bit more about Orange Park High School. We're excited about our opportunity for growth and our opportunity to meet the needs of all of our students. And we just want to say, welcome home, Raiders.
I've watched that about 872 times now, and every time I start tearing up. In conclusion, I just want to talk to you about this year. Our mantra for this year was, or it was really the mantra of our football team, and the research was done by them, but it was about a swords up. Swords up means so many things, but research shows that when swords are down, the old Captain Blood logo, for those of you who've been around and seen the old Captain Blood, where the swords were down, that means the battle's won. And in truth, when we're talking about our education, the battle's never won. So the fight is always on. So we have taken on a swords up motto here at Orange Park. It's imperative to have that attitude and to fight for our education, to fight for our school. Regardless if you're a 20-year veteran or a first-year teacher, regardless if you're a senior or freshman, that your education is yours and it's your fight. We have promised, I have promised, we all have promised all of our students that we're willing to fight for them. We are going to fight for them. There's no doubt about it, but they have to fight for themselves because it is their education, and that's what the Swords Up is all about. So we want to invite you, superintendent, school board, to fight with us at Orange Park High School for our students in our school. We want to welcome you to the Swords Up movement. So we have a little gift and a token of our appreciation for having us here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. That was very, very good. Makes me want to go there.
Cool. Nice. This is why somebody wanted to know our shirt sizes. Remember? Now we know.
I hope you got me a size medium.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we know.
Our next item is scheduled citizens' request, which we have none. This will be the last call for cards. And we'll do the presentation from the audience now. I'm going to start out with, there are 4 cards for the Art Enrichment Program, and that item has not been pulled. It is part of the consent agenda, and when we get to the consent agenda and approve that, it will just be approved. So since it's not a discussion item, if the folks who filled these cards out don't mind, I'm just going to ask you to come up and speak before the consent agenda is approved. So the first one I have is Miss Lori Butler. Every so often, Ms. Butler comes back and shares all the great things that the Art Enrichment Program is doing, so we are so glad to be continuing this program. And for all those emails that we got this week that we haven't responded to yet, we will, so thank you.
And thank you to the school board for supporting the Art Enrichment Program for 35 years now in Clay County. I'm the current director of the Art Enrichment Program, and I've been the director since 2007.
Would you state your name and address for the record?
I'm Lori Butler, and my address is 1916 Foxglove Lane, Fleming Island, Florida. And the Art Enrichment Program, in case you don't know what it is, it involves volunteers bringing great works of art to share in the classroom. So they provide a visual art experience in the classroom. The students get to touch the art, and that's a big deal for kids to get to touch the art. They get to learn about the artist, and they also sometimes get to do projects. So it reinforces what the volunteers are telling them. It isn't just a random thing that we show up with some art. Before we come to the classroom, the volunteers speak to the teacher, whichever class they're working with. What can we do to enhance your curriculum? And so then this volunteer is bringing something specific that is on their curriculum to enhance it. And we have some wacky topics. They're not always art. We've had life cycles. I've had a volunteer that's had Holocaust. We can do art that goes with almost any single thing on the curriculum. And once the volunteer goes to the teacher, they come back to me and they say, what do we have? And sometimes I have to take a couple days to figure out what we have that goes with these topics. But we have prints, we have sculptures, and we also have a lot of books that are geared more towards elementary school age group. And so we're a resource for the community and also the teachers. We enrich all different subjects. In science, I've had life cycles. I've had wild versus domestic animals. I've had nocturnal animals. I've had Arctic animals. In language arts, art can be used for a writing prompt. It's amazing how many pictures tell a story. And you can use the art, bring in a piece of art, and have the kids write a story. Social studies, we can do Greek, we can do Roman, we can do Egyptian, we can do Australian. Fortunately, I have lots of volunteers that have been to these countries. Some of them speak very fluent in these languages, and they can share that with the kids. Math, we can touch on geometry, which a lot of the artists used. And the students always learn things like perspective. And I see my time's up, so I'll let some other people talk about the program.
Before you leave, could you just share the history of the Art Enrichment Program? How long it's been with the district and where everything came from?
Years and years ago, 35 years ago, the Orange Park Junior Women's Club, which is no longer in existence, invested a bunch of money in art reproductions, which are the big, large prints, and some sculptures. And then they went extinct. Clay County Schools said, we would love to keep this program in the schools. And so then they sponsored it, and currently we're at Lakeside Elementary. That's where all this good stuff's located. And that's how it all got started way back when. And the whole classroom is full of 35 years of donations from the community, and artists have also donated to the classroom. And one thing that really hit me tonight is not only do the volunteers share the art in the classrooms, but a lot of them went on to be teachers here in Clay County. And I saw it in Orange Park High School's presentation. Maristella Miller was a volunteer before she was art teacher, and now she teaches pottery. So in addition to being volunteers, they also go on to be teachers in Clay County.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Our next speaker is Ms. Heidi Pate, followed by Carissa Hogan.
Thank you, Board. My name is Heidi Pate, 117 Parkside Avenue, Orange Park. I I'm known as one of those art enrichment volunteers. The students in Clay County elementary schools call us Picture Lady, and when they see us walking down the halls with our big bags, they're like, "Oh, Picture Lady's here, yay!" I have done this program, or been part of this program, for 18 years. I was a board member for art enrichment for 16 years, and I have not had children in the elementary school system for 12 of those years. That's how much I believe in this program and how important I think this is. I am also a very lucky parent. My children, both of my children went to Orange Park High School and graduated from there. And when I told them what was going on, that this program may possibly be dissolving, they were both very sad because they felt like it was very well-rounded. They were so happy they had been exposed to this all of their lives, and they were, just hoping that there would be a way to keep it around. One thing I would like to say about programs like this is I think that's what makes our county different, and that's what makes our county so strong. Both of my children have gone on into the medical program and are going to be doctors, and I think it's because of the well-rounded components that we do. It's not just a fun program, it's an educational program. We actually try to hit on 3 areas. We try to assist the teacher, as Mrs. Butler pointed out, is we get with the teachers, especially now that the curriculums are so tight, and find out what are they studying, what can we enhance, because some children learn by touch and feel. And our point is to just try to get them to remember. For example, when we study the Sistine Chapel, we will actually have them lay on the floor under their desk and tape a picture to the bottom and have them color it so they understand how long it took to paint the Sistine Chapel for 4 years with your head in the air and what that feels like. So we try to combine it so it's something that sticks in their minds, as well as I think it's important to also show them the current and the old. Like, for example, Rosetta Stone right now is a real popular program out there for everyone to learn foreign languages. I bring in a replica of the Rosetta Stone and talk to them about it so they can see the connection that the rest of us as adults already know. And so it's important to combine all 3 of those aspects to it. When we study Egypt, I bring in canopic jars where the body parts went, and I bring in a cartouche so they can see how the Egyptians write. And it really connects for the students and helps enhance the teacher's curriculum. So I would hope that you would keep this program around for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Carissa Hogan, followed by Carrie Reardon.
Thank you very much for allowing us to come in and speak about this. As you can tell, just from 4 people being here in a program like this, those of us that have been around for a long time and have been a part of it are very passionate about it. My name is Carissa Hogan. My address is 1584 Lakeway Drive, Fleming Island, Florida. I've had 4 children go through the Clay County school system. The last one is a senior here at Fleming Island. So, and they all have been a part of the art enrichment program, and I still will get comments, "Oh, you were the art lady." So, and again, my child's a senior. So there are children that know me through that program. They looked forward to it. For them, it was a fun escape. They didn't realize they were actually learning. When you look at a program, anything that's instituted within a government or a church, anything that we're bringing in a program and you're putting hard-earned time and money into it, I think there's 3 key components. The first is the content, obviously. What are you trying to teach? With the art program, like Mrs. Butler spoke, we can do just about anything. Art is so impactful, and we don't realize how vast the whole world is for this program. The best part is that we have a 35 years of content already there to pick and choose from, as well as our own experiences and things that we can bring as volunteers from our own homes. What's the goal? What are we trying to do? And that's the point of this program, is enriching the children's education through the arts. The impact is the next thing you have to look at. What are the results you're trying to get? With these kids, as we were discussing earlier, we're trying to help supplement a curriculum. We're trying to give them an opportunity to be creative. We're giving them a chance to learn something that they might not get through the current curriculum. The teacher just doesn't have the time or the resources. The last thing, of course, is the cost. And with this program, it's exponentially cost-effective because you're using volunteers, you're using items that were donated, and the impact, one volunteer can impact every grade at that school if they so desire to spend that many hours there. One year I worked as the third grade art lady and taught the entire third grade once a month for 15 to 20-minute presentation. Of course, it took me 3 times a day to do it, but we got through it, and that was based on what the teachers wanted from the curriculum. So for me, looking at this program, the cost-benefit analysis is phenomenal. Because of the impact of all these volunteers, your money is very well spent. So thank you for the time to talk to you and ask you to continue this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Carrie Reardon, followed by Rebecca Smith.
Not sure if there's anything left to say. It's a fantastic program. But hello, my name is Carrie Reardon, and I've been a picture lady for Clay County Art Enrichment Program for the past 12 years. As a picture lady volunteer, I've brought paintings, etchings, posters, sculptures, PowerPoints, DVDs, books, and music into classrooms at Fleming Island Elementary, Grove Park Elementary, Swimming Pen Elementary, and the homeschool programs at Otoby Kids, and also several Girl Scout troops. Teachers let me know what unit the students are learning, and I can bring in visuals to help them understand further. Third graders studying ancient Egypt, I have images of Tutankhamun's tomb, busts of Cleopatra, and samples of hieroglyphics. Fourth graders reading Washington Irving, I can bring in countless paintings from the Hudson River School to bring Sleepy Hollow to life. Pick any subject, and I can enhance it with something from the Art Enrichment Portable. I've brought in Native American artifacts and paintings from George Catlin. Okay, show of hands on the board. Who knows who George Catlin is? Okay, ask a 5th grader. Okay. And George Catlin was born in Pennsylvania in 1796. He was a fine painter and a lawyer. And one day, he saw a delegation of 12 American Indians from far west on a march through Philadelphia on his way to Washington. Catlin was so impressed by their stature and devotion to their mission, he threw away his law books, picked up his brushes, and traveled extensively throughout America for the next 20 years, living with Native American tribes, painting them, writing about them, and learning their way of life. Catlin was America's #1 authority on all things Native American. He painted over 500 pictures and amassed hundreds of artifacts and clothing. He wanted to sell his collection to the U.S. government, but short-sighted as the government was, and sometimes still is, the government wasn't interested. They turned him away. So he was so crushed and broke, Catlin traveled to Europe with all his artifacts, all his artwork, and several Native Americans as well. He travels through Europe as a spectacle that's similar to a traveling circus. Along the way, Catlin is swindled. A fire destroys his art. He dies penniless. George Catlin's life reads like a Hollywood movie, and believe me, kids love it. And that's what I do. I try to excite the students' imagination and curiosity with art. Sometimes I'm in a classroom for 15 minutes, and sometimes I'm in there for an hour. As a picture lady volunteer, I am here to help the teacher bring their class lessons to life. Keeping the Art Enrichment Program alive and well in Clay County is a no-brainer. We have one paid part-time employee, Lori Butler, who keeps things organized and running, and like many of our teachers, she puts in twice as many hours as she's paid for. She runs the Art Enrichment Program on love and pure passion, and not for a paycheck. We have an entire portable with an art history inventory that surely would be the envy of most any school system in the country. We have dedicated volunteers that put in hundreds of hours and serve thousands of students. And yet, every year, it seems like a fight to keep the art enrichment program going. Please, and I speak for all art enrichment volunteers and all students, as we have supported the Clay County schools and students, I ask you to support us now.
Thank you. Ms. Rebecca Smith, followed by Victoria Raleigh.
Victoria who?
Raleigh. R-A-L-E-I-G-H.
Okay.
She's from the Red Cross.
My name is Rebecca Smith. My address is on file. Good evening, school board members, Superintendent Davis. I'm going to speak to you this evening on something that I'm very passionate about too. It's your people, my co-workers, regardless if it's a teacher, a bus driver, custodian, cafeteria worker, ESC assistant, doesn't matter. We're all a team. I'm here speaking to you tonight concerning each and every one of these classifications. Many times we sit across from the bargaining table in the past and we heard the status quo. We don't have no money. Stock market crash. We ain't got no money. These hard times, we need you to hang in there with us. Housing market crashed the following year. We don't have no money. Sorry, y'all. We just don't got it. We need you to hang in there with us. So we hang in there with you. Next year comes around, we go to impasse. We get a nickel. We hang in there with you. You need to ask yourself, this hurricane, it affected all Clay County. Black Creek Bridge on County Road 218 got shut down because the support of the bridge is damaged. Right now, you are the bridge. We are the support. Your support is coming apart. Many workers are leaving this district at rapid pace. They're finding work at other counties because they can make more money. Some people say, well, good riddance, so be it. Now, these are people that stood by you, that worked for you when the times were hard. Now our insurance is recently going up like well, I can't say what I want to say, but it's crazy. It's out of sight, okay? I mean, it's like a what the crap moment, if you know what I mean, okay? I mean, it's serious. I mean, some of y'all, I believe you got a sticker price shock when you seen it. Well, just imagine somebody on the lowest pay scale get that sticker shock. We need help. I'm asking each and every one of y'all tonight. I'm bold. I'll go where no man been before. I'll tell you what I want. I would like to see this district pay for our insurance. And back in the day, some of you board members, y'all remember, our insurance was covered by the district. You showed you appreciated us. Y'all did what was right, and we appreciate it. Right now, your people can't keep forward these increases in insurance. Well, we're not getting step increases. When we do get a step increase, it means nothing. Seriously, for the simple fact your insurance just went up higher. Again, a what the crap moment. I mean, we need help here. We're bleeding. I'm speaking up for everybody. We are your people. You're the only ones who can make it happen.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Smith.
you.
Our next speaker is Victoria Raleigh, followed by Shayna Meiselman. Sorry.
Victoria Raleigh, I'm the Regional CEO for the American Red Cross of North Florida, 751 Riverside Avenue, Jacksonville. Really, I'm here this evening to say thank you. Clay County, I have the pleasure of serving 35 counties in Florida, and I'm ever impressed by Clay County and in particular the work of this school board and the school system. You all bound together and support the shelters. In total, in combining both the shelter nights provided within your shelters, within your schools, and the host shelters that Red Cross provides post-landfall, we provided over 1,500 nights, and I think that's something certainly to be proud of. In addition, the Red Cross right here in Clay County has provided almost 4,000 meals and snacks and over 12,000 comfort items. And I just wanted to bring it to this board's attention that supplies and assistance is still available through the Red Cross. In fact, we are dropping off a tractor trailer full of supplies tomorrow morning, bright and early, in Green Cove Springs. So if there's a need, please let us know. We certainly are here to support and appreciate the continued partnership.
Thank you. Shana, would you tell me the correct way to pronounce your last name?
Did a good job. It's Meiselman.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Shana Meiselman, and my address is on file. I wanted to take a moment and speak with the board about VAM scores. At the beginning of the school year, we were told that administration had access to them and we would be finding out soon. And then administrators lost access to them, and I still don't know my VAM score from last year. And we're starting the next school year. And I do know that with the VAM score, 245 teachers dropped from highly effective to effective from one measure. And it's been proven that it's a flaw measure, and that there's no true correlation between a VAM score and how effective you are as a teacher. And my heart belongs with ESE. I am the mother of an ESE learner who has test anxiety, and I hate the thought of a teacher saying, oh no, I don't want an ESE kid because I don't know what that will do to my VAM score. I'm also a teacher, and I teach the inclusion class. 11 out of my 17 students have IEPs. I teach children. We will celebrate their accomplishments, and we will work as hard as we can, but knowing that I'm focusing on teaching the children, my VAM score can impact how effective I am, which could then affect my pay. Morale is low. I am hearing from people who teach inclusion that they don't want to anymore, because anybody who's ever worked in an inclusion classroom, it's a work of heart, and we need to be lifted up. And that there are people who were highly effective ESE with the stress now, they don't want to do it. And in addition to all of that, we now have new curriculum, and it's a lot. 45 minutes on a computer program for any child can be difficult, especially when we're asking them to do academic work. When you have a fourth grader reading on a second grade level or a first grade level, they're in tears. I've had students fall asleep because their brains have worked as hard as they can, and they get so upset when they see their grades because it shows them immediately. And so, just so that you're aware, it's causing undue stress, and I'm very worried that people won't be here to teach the ESE students in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jennifer Burhart, followed by Chris Trahan.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Burkhart. My address is 2765 Secret Harbor Drive, Orange Park, Florida. I happen to be an inclusion English teacher at Orange Park High School, so this is near and dear to my heart. I've been an inclusion English teacher in Clay County for 10 years. This is the first time I've ever attended a school board meeting, let alone spoke at one, so I feel like this is very, very important. And just to piggyback off what the previous teacher said, inclusion teachers had the highest turnover rate, ESE teachers, all right? Most of the time, people, it's a stepping stone. It's very rare to have someone teach it for an entire decade. And I almost contemplated moving to regular ed this year for so many of a variety of reasons that were just stated, which I will probably address at future school board meetings. But for now, I would like to speak about what it is like to be an inclusion teacher. For those who do not know, inclusion teachers are duly certified in their content and ESE, so exceptional student education. In addition to teaching 2 preps, lesson planning, and grading, which fully consume the time of the average teacher, I also am responsible for 20 ESE students who are my contact students. As an inclusion teacher, I write my contact students' annual IEPs, update each of my 20 contact students' goal pages 8 times during the school year, attend each of their annual IEP meetings, serve as LEA at another approximate 25 IEP meetings, conduct interim IEPs as is necessary throughout the year, write summer school IEPs at the end of the year when applicable, make copies of the completed IEPs to send home with students, meet individually with these 20 students throughout the year, check to see if their schedules align with their IEP at the beginning and the end of each year, and print off accommodations for all the teachers of my contact students. And then if I have an EBD student, I also have FIBA-BIBs that I have to maintain and that I have to write, which involve additional monitoring. And do I mention I also teach 9th and 10th grade English. I grade 80 students, papers, essays, lesson plan, try to provide more engaging lesson plans because these are ESE students and they don't appeal to a standardized curriculum across the board, which is a whole nother matter that I'll address later. But I took the time to calculate how much extra time I actually spend doing solely ESE stuff. And I did a conservative estimate with the time it took me to write IEPs, attend all of these meetings, and assuming parents only attend half these meetings, I work 90 hours overtime by a conservative estimate. There's absolutely no way I can complete this during contracted hours. I can't even do my lesson plans and grading in contracted hours. So now I'm working overtime. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I come in every single week and I work hours, and I'm not the only inclusion teacher who does that. To do our job right, you have to do that. So I am standing here saying, I understand money is on the table and it's always a battle, but inclusion teachers deserve a supplement. Coaches get supplements, department heads get supplements, class sponsors get supplements. Inclusion teachers deserve a supplement because we work overtime. If you paid me for all that overtime, I would be making $2,500 at my hourly rate. I get absolutely nothing. So, and that's all inclusion teachers, not just myself. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Wow. Chris, that's a tough one to follow.
Yeah, I don't even think I could follow that.
Can you speak that quick?
Probably not. But just for the record, Chris Trahan, and my address is already on file. I got 2 points that I want to put on this card. One, Mr. Davis, thank you. As a CCEA member, it meant a lot to me to actually see district leadership at our office cleaning up and taking the initiative, taking time away from your family during post-Irma to help us out with that. So thank you. That meant a lot, and that also speaks a lot to the type of relationship that you want to build with our professional organization. So thank you, sir. There's a discussion that I'd like to see the board have here sometime in the very near future. Last year when we found out that we were getting new textbooks, obviously there's always challenges and adjustments that come with this because we have to transition from one book to a different book. But I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit when I found out that we were only getting a class set and our students were going to have to be relying on e-books or internet-based books. And I figured, okay, fine, I'll roll up my sleeves and we'll make this work. Well, here we are about a quarter in and it's not working. This notion of having our students solely using or being solely dependent on internet-based books when we have the subscription to it, which is a totally different matter, doesn't service all demographics of our students. As you saw in the video, Orange Park High School's got a very large ESOL demographic. We've got a lot of English language learners. We've also got a lot of students in that program that are brand new to the country. They don't have internet. I'm working constantly with my ESOL aides trying to figure out how we can get the textbook, a hard copy of the textbook. They're actually using their own materials to print off the book off their printer. They're eating up their ink, their paper to make sure that these kids get a hard copy of the book. Okay? This single classroom set is not working. It's putting a lot of our students behind the 8 ball. It's really doing them a disservice. It's assuming that they all have equal access to internet. They don't. I've got students that under normal circumstances they would, but post-Irma, their computer got fried. Their internet's down. They can't access the material. How are they supposed to prep for my class or classes, because I'm not the only teacher that's in this boat, if they don't have internet? So I think this is something that we need to look at now. I don't think this is a can that we can kick further on down the road. This needs to be addressed now, before we even do even more of a larger disservice to our students. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trahan. Mr. Davis, is that a new practice just for this year? I know you're taking notes over there.
Yeah, I know we're taking notes.
Interrupt you.
Oh, no, ma'am. This actually went through the selection process by teachers and the adoption process. From our side, we implement what the committee selects, and in this situation, individual books for kids. My understanding, and I can get Mr. Connor to kind of complete, and Ms. Rocan, were not selected. What was selected? The problem is, and we'll get better as a committee. The committee, I guess, assumed that they were going to have online access for kids to have, continue to have online access for textbooks. That's what they had last year, my understanding, is that they had online access. So this year it comes to a part where it wasn't inclusive in the package that was selected. So we were in the process of problem solving with Mr. Connor for the high school module level, and we recently got a price of what it would cost for us to move forward to have access at a curriculum level. Dr. Stallman, anything, or Mr. Connor, anything that you want to add?
No, they do have one-to-one workbooks that every student is allowed to take home, and they have the class set of textbooks and the PDF electronic version.
So for those students that don't have access, or for whatever reason their family doesn't have it, are we providing books for those students?
We can look into, and we can, without a doubt. We will, from this point on, knowing that this was an issue that I think me and Ms. Paiva talked about this week, maybe this week, I thought it was this week, it all runs together, that we talked about moving forward with any adoption committee, that we will make certain that we identify what teachers have currently and what students have currently, and we will always match that. So trust me, it's nothing that we didn't want students not to have access. I mean, class sets is many places are class sets, but we want them to have every access and advantage they can while they're at home. So we're in the process, and we got to print to get stuff, accessibility for kids. Without a doubt, we'll make that happen.
Madam Chairman, if I may ask, Mr. Connor, you said something about workbooks for every student. Which classes are we talking about for the workbooks?
This is secondary.
You should really go to the microphone if he's going to talk.
Mr. Connor.
Mr. Connor, could you go to the microphone?
Thank you, sorry.
Thank you.
And the seats.
It's just a record.
Good evening. So to answer your question, as far as social studies adoption, our one-to-one portion of that adoption was the workbooks. So we have the class set of textbooks, the workbooks for all of those areas have the one-to-one workbook for students to take home.
But that's just history. What about the other subjects?
That's the only one there's an issue.
That's the only one there's an issue.
That was this adoption.
Yeah, this adoption cycle.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Miss Vicki Kidwell.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ms. Condon. Did you want to make a comment?
On the textbook thing, it would be helpful if the staff could also appreciate that they do not work on Apple devices. So our students who access internet through their phones or through iPads cannot access the online textbooks.
All right. Mr. Connor, did you make note of that? Thank you, Ms. Condon.
Thank you.
Ms. Kidwell? Sorry.
Okay, so I want to speak today about the budget. The bottom line is everything needs money, and I'm urging you to join the lawsuit against 7069. Everybody knows that money is tight here in Clay County. I know your fund balance is up, but everything else is tight. We need smaller class sizes. We lost 2 teachers at our school because we were just under the cap, so now we're all over the cap, but only by a couple, so I guess that's okay, we're averaging. Smaller class sizes mean more individual attention for the kids, so it'd be great if we could adhere to that law. And then without the funding, we're just going to have to keep averaging, and classes are going to get bigger. We're thrilled to have art back, but it's amazing to me that art, there's no budget for supplies. She actually is going to teach art to the whole school with no supplies. We're scrounging around, teachers are digging in their closet, trying to find art supplies for the art teacher because she doesn't have a budget. That's crazy. That's funding. Argyle Elementary. I don't think any of the art teachers have a budget.
Money's provided. Yeah, there's money provided. I don't mean to interrupt you at your time. There's money absolutely provided to schools for art supplies.
How much? Because she doesn't have any supplies. I've been in her room, and she has talked with the administrator. She doesn't have supplies. She's using her own, warehouse money.
It's not the form.
We need to get that out to the art teachers then, because administrators don't know either. We need Wi-Fi in a lot of the schools so we can get those kids on the iReady. That takes money. 7069 is going to take our tax money from public schools and give it to charter schools with little or no oversight. You're in bargaining right now. We're in bargaining, teachers and support, and insurance went up $600 for us this year alone. The board hasn't come across with any monetary figure towards us. It's not really bargaining in good faith. It's hard to imagine it could get worse, but 7069 is going to make it worse. Everything costs money, and 7069 is going to continue to bleed funds from our public schools. You were elected to support public education, and so I urge you to be brave and bold. I know it's scary to stand up to the big guy, but you need to stand up for public education. We need our public schools. That's where I want my tax money to go, and I know that's where our community wants their tax money to go. Please join the lawsuit for 7069 and let them know in Tallahassee they need to stop draining us. We need good public schools. That's why people move to Clay County, for good public schools, not for charter schools. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Kidwell. Our next item on the agenda is the adoption of the consent agenda. There were no items pulled for discussion, and items C2 and C16 were both withdrawn. I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Studdard, a second by Ms. Bola. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. I need to back up a minute. The very first vote that we did was voting to allow Ms. Condon to vote, and Ms. Condon, you voted, and I actually said 5-0, but really, at that time, your vote didn't count. So, Ms. Bush, would you correct that to say 4-0? The very first vote to allow? I know it's just procedural. All right. At this time,
oh dear,
we'll do our update from CCA. Ms. Paiva.
Good evening, Renly Paiva, President of the CCEA. I actually had forgotten about the art situation. I meant to bring that to your attention, Mr. Davis, because I don't know where that was, but I did get some complaints that they didn't have supplies, not only in Argyle, but also other elementaries, and so my apologies to you for not asking you or speaking to you about it. The other thing about the workbooks, and it is history. World history doesn't seem to have a workbook. Is that correct? At least my world history teachers don't have workbooks. And if they do have a workbook, is this a workbook that has very little text in it? It's all text? Okay, we need to follow up with that too, because I got big questions about the history, adoption, who voted, still don't know. I've asked that question a few times. We don't know who voted. We do know who was on the committee, but all the committee says that they didn't vote for it. It is a huge concern. We're used to having a textbook. We actually have contractual language about textbooks, and we're used to the teachers having a textbook, their own teacher text and all that, and I'm concerned because our kids want that book in their hand. That's how they learn. That's been successful for us in Clay County. And I really hate to see us converting to just classroom texts, because not everybody has internet at home. So either we got to figure out to give everybody internet at home, or we got to do a better job with our textbooks and finding our needs. Okay, I'm going to be like really nice on some things and really bad on others, and then I'm going to be nice on to end. But first things first, and that's about first book. We got our 2,000 signatures. So the CCA, in cooperation with the American Federation of Teachers and First Book, and also delightfully partnering with the District of Clay County and the School Board of Clay County, will be bringing in 40,000 brand-new books on the 20th of October to be unloaded from a big, huge tractor trailer, and the event will be happening on October 21st. We pushed it back a week, so I need the public to know that we're gone back a week because of the hurricane and everything, and that messed up our deadlines a little bit. But it's going to be at Green Cove Springs Junior on the 20th, and open to the public from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock for all public school parents, public school teachers, and anybody, you know, that is in the community that needs to get some books. We want to put books in our kids' hands. So every parent can get between 10 and 20 books per child. Every teacher can get between 50 and 100 books for their classroom libraries. And then I have a bunch of principals who are buying vans, and because I don't want any books left over. So anything left over, principals can get their own transportation, come and get them at 4 o'clock. Just get them out of Green Cove Springs. So
Would you repeat the date and time again?
yes, it's going to be, the event is going to be the 21st of October, Green Cove Springs Middle School, junior high, and 10 to 4, and from 9 to 10 will be open to public school teachers only. So the public school teachers can go in from 9 to 10 and get all the books that they want. No one's really going to track that. We're very excited. We're going to have a lot of things going on at the same time that I haven't logistically talked to everybody about, but we're very, very excited. I can't even imagine 40,000 books. I don't even know what that looks like. But we're excited we're doing it anyway. My second big thing on the agenda today is your D2 is joining the statewide litigation regarding Florida Statute 7069. This bill is a direct assault on public education. Make no doubt about it. It's the erosion of local control, by the way. So it's an attack on your authority. This bill has numerous other bills in it. It breaks its own, the Florida Constitution says a bill will address one thing. This bill addressed numerous things, so it's in violation of that. All this bill does is funnel taxpayers' money into charter schools and the charter school industry. That's what this bill is about. It's about politicians that have an interest in charter schools. It is the biggest con job in the state of Florida is to convince the public about this thing called school choice. There's no such thing as school choice. It isn't. Let's follow the little red ball. This concept of school choice, let's take it to my choice. I don't have any school-age children in Clay County. Do I get to keep my money? Or do you choose to go to a charter school so you take your money, but you're taking part of mine also? So what happens to the police and the fire? I've lived in my house in Clay County for 20 years. I have never called a policeman, and I've never called a fireman. So what if I have to have my choice? I don't want to pay those taxes that go to police and fire anymore. I want to hire my own security guard in a nice, cute uniform, and I want him to protect my house from fire and assault with deadly weapons. What would that do if everybody did that in Clay County? If everybody said, I don't call the police, I never have a disruption in my home, I don't call fire because I got no little fire things all over the place, and I never cook that much, so it doesn't go off. So I'm going to keep the money. And I'm going to hire a security firm, and I'm going to take care of myself. What would happen is it would erode the police service and the fire service. They could no longer function for the whole community benefit. That's what we are. We are a public school system. Every one of you are elected to service the public school system. Every one of you are elected to advocate for public school. Nobody else. Charter schools do not get kudos for opening up in A school zones and getting a B. And that's what they do. They don't open up in F school zones. They don't open up in D school zones. They open up in A school zones in Clay County. They get a B, and they're all like, ooh, aren't I good? No, you know who's good? Tynes. Tynes is good. And Tynes is my favorite elementary school because they found my portfolio.
So if you, I'm sorry, through the chair.
Shush.
So if you lose your calendar.
It's my turn, yes. I lose my calendar and they're my favorite schools. It hurts the entire community. Make no doubt about it, I am a product of private education. But I do not serve private education. I serve public education, and I'm the president of the CCA. And my job is to advocate for them. Don't confuse the two. Your job is to advocate for public education. I'm begging this school board, I'm begging this superintendent to support this lawsuit, to tell Tallahassee to be brave. You have to be brave. My teachers are brave when they come up here and speak to you. This is frightening to speak to you. It is. They're not used to it. We have people here who spend sleepless nights thinking about speaking to you. That wonderful teacher from ESE, with all those hours. We put across the table to you in bargaining to give them a TDE day 4 times every quarter, and you denied it. You denied it, the stupid TDE days. It's stuff like that that private education, that public education has to stand up for. They have to stand up for these teachers. I'm not bargaining, I'm just stating. Finally, I want to reiterate to you, Mr. Davis, again, to thank you for coming and helping us clean up our property. It was more than all that hard work you did, and I know because the union fire ants got you, they told me. Yeah, I know. They told me.
I was running down the road with my shirt off.
The union fire ants are
Everybody was
vicious.
trying to take pictures.
But it was more than that. It was symbolic of working together, of making a whole district. And, I admire that, and I appreciate it, and my union appreciates it. So, that's all I got for you today. My main purpose of being here today was absolutely, when I listen to the ESE people, and I know that, we got to start bargaining in good faith. We got to start just not saying no to everything. We got to start looking at the insurance situation, and that's true. I remember when we changed the language, it used to say 100%, and I argued not to change that language, because I knew as soon as we took that 100%, what would happen. And I still can hear Denise Adams saying, we'd never do that. We'd never do that. It's not true. It's exactly what we've done, because we take the easy way out, because we're so afraid. Stop being afraid. Stand up for public education. Thank you for wearing purple tonight, Mr. Davis. Purple for public education, and some of your senior people have purple on. I'm truly impressed. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Paiva. Ms. Dixon from our CESPA with an update.
Good evening, Teresa Dixon, CESPA President, and I really think a lot of people have already said so many of the things that have been on my mind, so I'm not going to reiterate all of that, but what I would like to do is just speak from my heart. I've still got hurricane brain, and I think a lot of us do. It's been a rough month, actually. But I just wanted to tell, particularly Superintendent Davis, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm going to try not to cry through this because I've already cried through it a few times. When I've saw so many of my friends be flooded out and lose so much through all of this. So many people that I cared for. Thank you for the integrity that you had to stand up and to provide for your people. I appreciate that, and I appreciate every school board member, every member of senior staff, every principal, every worker that helped in any way. It meant so much to me. I came out of this after summer. You know, support employees, it's tough on us. Summers are tough on many of us. We get into that first September 15th paycheck, and it's like, oh God, finally a real paycheck. But with the hurricane occurring right at that time, many of us, and I'm included in that, I'm just speaking from my heart this time, I was left with $38 in my bank account and a freezer full of food to feed my father, my grandson, my nephew, my great-granddaughter, who all live with me, gone because I lost power for 6 days. So it was a matter of putting gas in my car so I could get to work, or do I buy diapers for the baby, or do I buy a pound of hamburger meat? What am I going to do? Whenever you opened up the giveaway, and I didn't know how emotional it would be, and I walked in there and I walked out with diapers for my great-granddaughter, that meant more to me than you can even imagine, because just those boxes of diapers, that meant another gallon of gas or another pound of hamburger meat, that I could use that money for something else. And I don't think I'm alone. I think that, honestly, I got such a minimal hit with this, but I think about so many of my other colleagues who lost everything. And I just wanted to say sincerely, thank you. Thank you for the way you communicated to your staff. Thank you for the way that you put them at ease on knowing that they're going to get that paycheck. Such small words, decisive decisions, immediate responses. Thank you for being a man of integrity, for being a man of compassion, and for being the leader that we need in Clay County. Just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. And she touched on something that we spoke about at our workshop last week, but just having that payroll done, Mr. Davis and Dr. Legucco and your team staying late so that everybody did get paid when they needed to, it really meant a lot. Thank you, and thank you for all the other things you've done. And I know, food services worked so hard, and Dr. Kemp's department, everybody really stepped up and went above and beyond. We appreciate it so much. Thank you. Our next item is proclamation 1807 declaring September as Attendance Awareness Month. And this was actually intended to be on the September 7th agenda, which would have been perfect timing. But there's a proclamation here that I will read, unless somebody else wants to.
No. Got a couple more days left with this one.
Clay County School Board Proclamation 18-07, proclamation of September as Attendance Awareness Month. Whereas good attendance is essential to student achievement and graduation. We are committed to dedicating our resources and attention to reducing chronic absenteeism rates with the focus starting as early as kindergarten. Whereas chronic absences, missing 10% or more of school for any reason, including excused and unexcused absences, or just 2 of 3 days a month, is a proven predictor of academic trouble and dropout rates. Whereas chronic absence predicts lower third grade reading proficiency, course failure, and eventual dropout, it weakens our communities and local economy. Whereas the impact of chronic absence hits low-income students and children of color particularly hard if they don't have the resources to make up the lost time in the classroom and are more likely to face systemic barriers to getting to school, such as unreliable transportation, lack of access to health care, and unstable or unaffordable housing. Whereas all students, even those who show up regularly, are affected by chronic absence because teachers must spend time reviewing for students who miss lessons. Whereas chronic absence can be significantly reduced when schools, parents, and communities work together to monitor and promote good attendance and address hurdles that keep children from getting to school. Now therefore be it resolved that as Clay County School Board, we proclaim that our schools will stand with the nation in recognizing September as Attendance Awareness Month. We hereby commit to focusing on reducing chronic absenteeism to give all children an equal opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive academically, emotionally, and socially. Mr. Davis, I think you added that last sentence. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Bola, a second by Ms. Studdard. Any discussion? There's one thing that I just wanted to point out that I've heard quite a bit about truancy court lately. And, this ties in with that because not only does truancy or absenteeism have a negative effect on our students and their education, but also it affects our funding and, the funding that the district receives from FTE dollars. What is it Miss Adams always said? Something about bodies in the seats, or she had a way of putting it for the FTE dollars.
Cheeks in the seat.
What was it?
Cheeks in the seat.
That's what it was. That's right. So we really need to encourage, good attendance. Anyway, so again, I have a motion by Ms. Bola, second by Ms. Studdard. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, our next item, authorization to join the statewide litigation regarding House Bill 7069. I have about 5 cards here. So the first one is Catherine Morrison.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Morrison, and my address is on file. Before I speak to this topic, I want to say that I am also a proud wife and mother of 3 graduates from the Orange Park High School. Go Raiders! I also want to thank Mr. Davis for helping us work on our property. I was out there last Saturday in the heat and the ants. And so I know what that means. It also means a lot to me as a union member that you were there to show unity within our district. Now, I'm here tonight to ask you all to please join the fight against the state, against FS 7069. This is a terrible way to destroy our public school system. Why do we continue to give our capital outlay funds to charter schools? Why would we want to lose our language for our annual contract teachers? I'm not an annual contract teacher, but I work with 5 amazing, fabulous women. 4 of those women are annual contract teachers. We have enough stress in the classroom to keep us busy for our lifetime. We do not need the added stress of wondering if our annual contract teachers are going to have a job next year or not. it's despicable, because these teachers are fabulous. They weren't lucky like me to have a professional service contract, because I was here in the district when that was still available. The state did away with that. Why would we give bonuses to some teachers because we're lucky enough to have the home rooms? Why aren't we giving bonuses to all the teachers because they all work? Resources, guidance counselors. They're just as important to the education of our children as the homeroom teachers. We need you to fight for us, all teachers, not just the ones that were here when we were able to have our professional contracts. And the VAM scores, oh my gosh, why? Why are we going to use VAM scores when the state says we don't need to anymore? The VAM score is such a way, it's a flawed system, and the way it's derived is just craziness. Please, I beg you to do the right thing and join the fight against the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Our next speaker, Mr. Charles Walsh.
I came up here last year during contract talks, and I said, if you truly believe in giving the annual contract people some protection, vote yes. And if you don't, do the right thing and vote no. Now, we had a 5-0 approval of the contract last year. So I also said, if the state legislature doesn't like that, they can change the law. And so they went and did that.
His fault.
But now, how they did it. Senator Jack Latvala sat there in a committee meeting and said, what they're talking about doing is nothing like what we had put in when we passed this law. So the bill disappeared until the late night meeting with the horse trading, and then it made its way back in. I one time spoke to the Florida Board of Regents about doing something that was morally right as opposed to legal. Okay, we know 769 is a direct attack on public education, teachers, and school boards. Kind of like a broken clock. It does get a couple things good twice, a day. The VAM score. It is not required for teacher evaluation anymore, according to 769. Districts may use a different thing. Yet here in Clay, we're incapable of letting go of something that is no longer required because we're not agile or astute enough or something to make the changes that are needed. Yet we're going to stick with this statistical mumbo-jumbo. When I was in elementary school, we took a field trip to see Peter Pan. And at one point in the show, Tinkerbell is about to die. Everyone had to clap their hands and believe Tinkerbell would live. And when the audience did it, Tinkerbell lived. VAM is a statistical Tinkerbell. It only works if you really believe it works. I mean, it makes no sense to continue in this fashion. And I looked up statistical Tinkerbell. No one's ever used it before. Okay. God. Best and brightest. After my first 3 years of teaching, I don't usually like talking about myself, okay? 1980, 1983. Since that time, I've never received below an excellent or a highly effective rating. All right? I've earned a master's and a PhD in social science education for FSU. I am a presidential doctoral scholar at FSU. I earned national board certification. When I applied for college way back when, I was able to get in on GPA and class rank. I'm not taking an ACT. Now, they say I am not amongst the best and the brightest. That's fine. I've been insulted by much better than them. Stand up in this case, please. Do what's right. This is for you, this is for us. We're asking you to join us again. I mean, if you let them get away with this, I know the guys that put this thing together. And if you're nervous about them, you know, you can only do one thing with a bully, and that's to give them a pushback. And that's what these jokers up in Tallahassee deserve, is a good, solid pushback by people willing to do the right thing. So, stand with us. Thank you.
Mr. Walsh, where do you teach?
I know, well, the dropout prevention program, 88%.
Orange Park High School?
At Orange Park High School. Before that, it was all the social science. I taught Morrison's.
I wish you would come speak every month.
We'll see what I look at the agenda. Yeah.
Through the chair, can I give you topics to speak on my behalf?
We would welcome that.
That's right.
You know, I'm at the point where getting too serious about anything doesn't really, but the thing is, it's all very true. It's all very true. I'll come back next month and tell you a story about charter schools.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walsh. Chris, I'm sorry, you got to follow Mr. Walsh. Our next speaker is Chris Trahan.
Well, he's just lucky tonight. Goodness gracious. You want to tell us about Peter Pan?
Think all happy thoughts, right? Part 2 with HB 7069.
Oh.
You're really trying to challenge me, aren't you, Madam Chair?
I'm sorry. It was not intentional.
Right.
I had no idea.
Okay, well, for the record, Chris Trahan, and my address is on file. We've been talking a lot about change, and change is something that doesn't always come easily, and it never comes about by waiting for others to make that change for you. If you want something to change, you must be the one to enact that change. HB 7069 represents the latest in a series of blatant and deliberate attacks on public education. The state's attitude towards public education can be described as hostile, if not loathsome. This war on public education will not change and will not stop unless we take action and fight not only for our jobs, but for our students' rights to equal access to an education. If we do not take a stand here and now, we are sending a clear message that the public education is a cause not worth fighting for, and that our students' rights to public education is not worth the fight. To remain silent to the abuse and corruption that HB 7069 stands for is to consent and agree with everything that it represents and side with for-profit charter schools. We talk about seeing Clay County as a leader of public education. Ask yourselves, what does it mean to be a leader? Now is the time that we need to step up and show that we can be a leader. We must stand alongside the growing number of counties across the state and say in one unified voice, the attack on our schools stops here and now. At last month's board meeting, concerns about the cost of joining the lawsuit were raised. I would counter with those concerns by asking, can we as a district afford not to join the lawsuit and leave our fight in the hands of someone else? Can we afford to watch as the state passes law after law that blatantly favors charter schools by handing over our resources to outside entities? You talked about the fear of retaliation from the state by joining the lawsuit. I ask you, what good is our Constitution if we as state employees and public servants are not willing to defend it in the court of law? Your own attorney cited multiple violations of the state's Constitution within HB 7069. These violations must be answered and addressed. Failure to respond says that we will tolerate our Constitution being trampled on and violated. Again, silence means consent. This is a fight that we cannot afford to be silent on and sit out of. To stand back on the sidelines is to stand with HB 7069 and charter schools. The state has drawn a very clear line in the sand, and they are not standing with us or our students. If they're not willing to stand with our students, will you? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Donna Mace. Donna Mace, followed by Laura Mayberry.
Donna Mace, address on file, Orange Park Alumni, 1971.
So, still here. First, I do want to thank you, the board, Superintendent Davis, the teachers, the staff, all the great stuff that I, as a Clay County citizen, saw about this district during the storm. I was impressed, and I was really proud to be part of this community. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to see that same joining now and considering joining 7069. The fight against it. Reading through the memorandum from your attorney, he wasn't totally updated. I'm sure the storm got him. We now have 14 districts that have joined the fight. They represent almost 50% of the students in Florida. We should include our children. The attorney has been identified and the upfront payment has been revealed, so we know what we're looking at. Some of the concerns that the board had last month in the meeting was that finances, paying for this. However, we can afford Achieve 3000. We can afford iReady. I spoke against those before. I hear teachers now speaking about their frustration with it. We can afford TNTP, $70,000 or more. I have professional experience with that program. It didn't help me. It didn't help my students. Perhaps Clay will do better with it, but that's money we could use somewhere else perhaps. It was stated that let's wait and see if they'll revisit this in Tallahassee. Manny Diaz has said, we're not bothering with this. DOE can tweak it or it can stay like it is. He's made it quite clear. The legislator does not plan to take it back up. And most frighteningly, this is a year for Constitution revision. One of the big topics being discussed is to eliminate an elected school board and have an appointed school board. More removal of local control. I think that it is definitely time for this county to take a stand, this district, and to fight for local control and for our children, or who will be shaping the future of Clay County. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Laura Mayberry.
Laura Mayberry, my address is on file, and thank you for not having me follow Dr. Walsh. And also I would like to state for the record, Mr. Davis, I hope that shirt is a large because Clayton Anderson is the only administrator in this county allowed to wear a medium. So, just wanted to put that out there.
Evaluation time, Anderson.
So today my speech is entitled, How to Talk to Your Republican Friends About House Bill 769.
Oh, God.
I would like to provide you with a few talking points to take to your conservative colleagues regarding why Clay County should join this lawsuit. So I've included some key conservative buzzwords. Joining the litigation is the fiscally responsible thing to do. A fully funded public school system is more efficient than a dual system of traditional public schools and charter schools. Having one system with neighborhood schools allows our district to reach economies of scale. One building with 500 students is more cost-effective than two buildings with 250 students each. Tax dollars are wasted on charter schools that pull students from their neighborhood schools and then shut down a few years later. I'm sure if anybody's been on Facebook for the last couple of days, the hashtag Take a Knee has been trending on there and on Twitter as well. But we're asking you to lock arms with us and take a stand against this bill. And I walked out of the last school board meeting after what seemed like an hour of discussion about this because it was just so frustrating to see my public school board debate whether they should support public schools. If your true loyalty lies with our traditional public schools and the students we are designed to serve, which is all students in Clay County, we take them all and we love them all, then you will vote to join this litigation. It's a loyalty issue to our students, and it's a loyalty issue to us as your faculty and staff. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mayberry. All right, so Before we move forward with a motion on this item, authorization to join the statewide litigation regarding House Bill 7069, I have something I need to mention, and it's awkward because we as a board have been working so well together, but it was brought to my attention this evening, and so, Ms. Gilhousen, please don't take offense. I'm not intending to be antagonistic and come off on a negative. But someone has questioned the voting and wondering if you would be recusing yourself since an immediate family member stands to gain through financial interest in a charter school which will directly benefit from House Bill 7069. So before we get into it, I told this I would ask, and so I'm putting it out to you.
First of all, I don't have a family member that stands to gain financially from this decision. I don't have a family member that's on a payroll for any charter school. I know the references to my mother who serves on the board for St. John's Classical Academy.
It is.
But it's a volunteer position. It's not a paid position.
I'm not going to debate it with you. Mr. Daggett, I'd like your legal opinion since
but you know what? If there's question,
it is, so
if it's questionable, I'm happy to recuse myself. It's not a risk that I want to take in an effort to, but I'm telling you, it's not a paid position. There should be no conflict of interest. Mr. Daggett.
Really, this is the first that I'm hearing this, so this is very much a personal decision to make. I'll tell you, obviously, if there's a direct conflict of interest, a board member would have to file the appropriate paperwork to declare as such.
But there is a time limit to do that afterwards. If you look in the statute, it's like 15 or 30 days. So she could print it up and bring it in and attach it to the minutes.
I've not had the opportunity to really kind of inquire what, if any, direct links there would be or indirect links for private benefit there would be. I would leave that to Board Member Gilhousen to make that determination now, abstain for the time being. It's very much Board Member Gilhousen's call at the moment. I'm sorry, I would have addressed the matter and become more acquainted with the facts as to various personal benefits of family members or board member and so on and so forth. But I think I just heard you say that there was no financial
Right.
benefit.
When I spoke with the Ethics Commission, when this charter school came to us for a vote originally, at the time, my mother was on the board then.
But she had resigned.
Not when I spoke with the Ethics Commission. When I spoke with the Ethics Commission, she was still on the board, and I asked at that time, would it be a conflict of interest for me to vote on the approval of this application? And they said that as long as there's no financial benefit, then there's not a conflict of interest. So
it's your call. I just said that I'd bring it up, and like I said, it's, I don't want it to seem antagonistic.
No,
It's not
I appreciate
intended
the
that way.
opportunity for transparency.
But at this moment, I wish that Carol was the chair.
I understand.
Oh, gee, thanks.
And she would have had to ask and not me.
No.
But, okay, so it's your decision.
What I do want to know, and this is awkward, does it make any difference in your voting? Do your children go there?
2 of my children do.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I mean, does that make any difference? I mean, you won't benefit financially with dollars, but you'll be benefiting from the things that they get from the school district when we're forced to give the charter school things. I mean, I guess
see
that's,
how
I mean, I
that's-
just don't want you to get in trouble.
I don't think
know.
that's any different than if my children went to, which I do have a child that attends Fleming Island Elementary. So if we were voting on something that was going to benefit Fleming Island Elementary, should I abstain at that point?
Yeah, that's why I'm just asking.
Ms. Bola, did you want to add something?
I wanted to make a motion
And the reason I want to make a motion, I think that once the motion is made and seconded, the discussion would then...
No, this has to be handled before any discussion, because if Ms. Gilhousen did decide to recuse herself, it has to be done beforehand.
Sorry. Okay.
That's why I brought it up. This is not discussion about the item, this is discussion about, is there a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest because her mom is on the...
I understand.
President of the
I
Board of
understand.
Directors for the
Yes.
charter
Yes.
school. So it's your decision what you decide to do.
If I can just chime in,
Yes, sure.
Madam Chair, we should also be mindful that there needs to be a nexus between that which is placed before the board and a personal benefit. Here, we need to be mindful this isn't a business transaction, this isn't, I'm unable to see a direct nexus between a challenge to 7069, which a complaint has not been finalized. It's unclear what the claims would be, but it would be, broadly speaking, challenging various portions of changes to the education code made by 7069. Not sure that that would present a direct benefit to any charter or private entity if that provides greater confidence to the board member Gilhousen on it.
Can I add something? Mr. Daggett, and you give me your legal opinion, but I don't think it has to be a dollar benefit. I think the school itself would be benefiting from the vote. And the fact, it's kind of like what Ms. Stutter just said. The school, any of the charter schools would be benefiting from however we vote tonight with this lawsuit. So the direct benefit is the school itself receiving that, and with her mother being a board member, president, chair of the board or whatever, there seems like it would be a benefit to her as the chair or president of this board of directors for the charter school. This is what the, you know.
I guess I'm seeing things a little bit differently because the thrust of the proposed action, I believe, would be largely challenging the benefits going to charter schools by way of the changes to the Education Code, House Bill 7069. So I'm just not seeing that nexus of a benefit even to a charter school. Again, we don't know, I was prepared to talk on, the latest status of this 7069.
Right, but we're not discussing the bill, we're just discussing, is there a conflict of interest or not?
Correct, and I guess what's in front of the board is the decision to join or not join a legal challenge that is largely, and I'm speaking very generally here, adverse to charter organizations.
Okay, Ms. Gilhousen, it's your call.
This honestly caught me off guard. I wasn't prepared to make this decision because...
Neither was I.
Okay, because when I consulted with the Ethics Commission, and I haven't had that opportunity, so you're kind of putting me in a tough spot here. I'm wondering if we could possibly postpone this to next week's meeting and give me the opportunity.
No, we have to move forward with it. I'm not comfortable postponing. If you want to vote, go right ahead and vote.
You indicated that your mother does not have an income from the
Correct.
charter school.
That's correct.
Her position on the board is not a paid position.
That's correct.
It is a voluntary position.
Yeah, but that's not the point, because there's still, the charter school itself gains. We don't need to debate it back and forth. Ms. Gilhousen, it's your decision, really, your call. If you're comfortable and you feel there's no conflict, we move forward with it. If you think you want to recuse, you can do it. And Mr. Daggett, I think it was like a Form 8A or something I filled out when when I had to do it those few times. So if you look it up, you can let her know or whatever. But
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we table this to our October meeting in order to get proper legal opinions.
I would second that motion. I mean, if we're trying to be cautious here, then, Mr. D'Agata, is there
I have a motion by Ms. Condon and a second by Ms. Gilhousen to table. All those in favor say aye.
well, I would like to discuss.
Oh,
Yeah. Mr. D'Agata, if we postpone this decision, does it affect our ability to be involved in this lawsuit?
I'm expecting a complaint to be drawn up and finalized within a matter of days. That is just my impression.
we need to be involved in that.
The participant districts, those that have already joined, legal counsel for those districts, I'm sure, have made progress on a complaint. I don't know, I can't answer your question, whether the complaint is going to be finalized, much less filed, between tonight and October 5.
May I say
Sorry.
something? When we were voting to approve St. John's Classical, that's when you called the Ethics Commission and they told you there was nothing wrong with that. From that, I'm going to assume that also in this matter, that you should be able to vote on this. And I'll tell you, I'm just one of 5 board members, but I do not want to delay this. I am tired of delaying this. Let's vote this thing up or down. We're either in the lawsuit or out of it. But please don't drag it out another month or another week or two. Let's get this behind us. I don't have any objections to you voting, and I'm sitting here thinking that if they told you before that it wasn't a violation to vote to approve that charter school, then I don't think this would qualify either.
I don't either.
I don't know.
It's just, if my integrity is being questioned, I'd rather have the authority of the Ethics Commission standing behind me saying that I'm doing the right thing. That's my personal preference.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Condon, a second by Ms. Gilhousen to table this to the October 5th meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
No. Motion fails 2-3. All right. So, Ms. Gilhousen, we'll just move forward and you will
I'm
be
going
part
to
of the
vote.
Okay. All right, at that,
Now?
this,
Now may I make a motion?
yes, you may.
Thank you. I move to authorize the school board attorney to enter into an agreement with the participating districts in a collective action to challenge House Bill 7069.
Can we add a dollar amount to that motion of $25,000, which is what Mr. D'Agata asked for?
That would be fine if that's necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Do what?
We didn't vote on the,
Oh, I did.
On what?
on
Vote on the last.
tabling.
The tabling. Did you vote?
We did vote on it.
I didn't.
Oh, Ms. Kirikas didn't vote on it. Shame, shame, shame.
Caught up here, I'm so sorry.
We voted.
Carol, you didn't vote.
Huh?
You didn't vote.
You know what?
Well, heck, fire. I said,
on.
I
You
said,
guys,
oh,
the item
jeez.
that we just voted on is D2, not
No,
the,
it was a motion to table.
I don't see that.
Action.
Mine says authorization to join.
You know, so does mine, Ms. Bush. You need to delete all
Oh
of
dear,
those.
close it out. I'm glad I didn't
Use
vote.
pen and
What are y'all
paper.
talking about?
Pen and paper. So let's move on to discussion while Ms. Bush corrects that.
Okay.
Okay.
Not on mine, it's not.
It doesn't say that on mine either. This is authorization to join statewide litigation.
I think, Ms. Studdard, it's under actions. I looked in the wrong area. If you look right under where it says current agenda items.
Oh, okay.
Motion to table.
Right.
All right, so we have a motion
I got you.
by Ms. Bola, second by Ms. Studdard. Any discussion about, this is for joining the lawsuit?
That is correct. Wait a minute. Did we, am I still voting on the motion to table?
Yes.
Or did I voted no, right?
Yes.
God knows.
And
Y'all,
my
please.
question was to add the dollar amount to that motion.
And I wasn't, if that's necessary, we can add the dollar amount of 25,000 if that's,
That would be preferred.
Okay, get a second.
You.
Did I second it already? I want to second it again.
Second it again.
All right. I want to make sure it got seconded.
Okay. So, any discussion? I think pretty much everybody who spoke summed it up and covered just about everything that we would have discussed, how that bill is going to affect public education. But I think the most important thing is what Ms. Paiva said, that, you know, a bill should have one item in it. And this was, what, 69, 66 items to it? It's just not constitutional to take a bill and at the last minute add all this stuff to it. So, I mean, Mr. D'Agata, is it 14 districts now, or are there more? I know Alachua County joined.
14.
There are 14 that are in. Palm Beach County is really negotiating and debating whether we'll pursue an independent action alongside with the collective or just go with the collective. And I understand that Collier is also making a final decision tonight. So that could bring us up to 15, 16, and we are based on the pro rata share based on overall student attendance. So there is an economy of scale currently present.
All right, thank you.
You ready for some discussion?
I'm ready for discussion. Anybody who'd like to go may start.
I'll start. You know, this board has sat here and we have tried to be polite and not offend people and not make those big boys mad. But I am fed up. I'm tired of it. You've got to stand up for what's right. We are here to be the advocates for public schools in Clay County. I am sick and tired every year of the legislature taking more and more away from public schools. They're not even going along with what the Constitution of the state of Florida says that they must do about funding public education in the state of Florida. I don't like to make people angry, and of course I thought, well, what more can they do to us? Come on, you know. They just keep poking the bear, and I'm tired. And I say, let's stand up and let's insist that this craziness stop. I am sick and tired of knowing that we are doing without and having to give capital money to charter schools. It just doesn't make sense. You know what really ticked me off, Mr. Davis? On one charter school, when you went to get all the supplies, because the playground equipment was cemented into the ground, we couldn't even get it back. You know, that's your tax dollars that paid for a school that's no longer in existence. There's so much unfairness to this, it just irritates me to death. So I say, let's go for it.
All right, Ms. Bola?
There were a number of comments that we made at the last meeting regarding this bill, and I know that there were comments that were made here again related to the legislators, and I've sat too long in a classroom and worried about where we were going to get the money for the classroom, much less for our salaries, and it's time to basically say no. I agree. There are some positives in this bill. VAM score, let's start with one of the Bs. And there are some that are still questionable to me. I understand the amount of money that's being given for Best and Brightest. I understand the opportunity for a bonus for teachers who are highly effective or effective. That has once again created some angst amongst our teachers, and the bottom line is these are bonuses. I will be told, oh, but this is money for the teachers, and all I can do is turn around and say, this is not salary for teachers. This is a bonus. This does not count towards a salary. It does not count towards a teacher's retirement income. It is a perk. And they assure us that this is going to happen year after year, and there's no assurance in that, just as there was no assurance that we would be taken care of in our medical benefits if we take a few provisions out. It is a frustrating bill. It is a bill that, as I've said in the past, negates itself in some situations. A 300-page bill that in many instances did not pass in the subcommittees before it made it there. And it is time. It's time to stand against this bill.
Ms. Gilhousen, did you have a...
Sure. My concerns are the same as they were last month, and I believe that there is merit in this lawsuit. I agree that there is some garbage in this bill. And like Ms. Bola said, there's a few good things as well. My concern is that we're spending $25,000 and it's a gamble. And when there's larger districts, like we talked about tonight, that represent 50% of our student population with deep pockets that can battle this out for us, to me, that's a better financial benefit to our district than getting our money involved. And again, I'm still left wondering about our legislative priorities. That's something we haven't even talked about yet, and how do we move that forward if we're in the middle of a lawsuit with the state legislators? So I'm very conflicted about it, truthfully. It's a tough decision.
Ms. Condon, would you like to add to the discussion?
Sure. I too am conflicted. I have stood up for students since I first took this position on, and there are some things in HB 7069 that give relief on assessments, which we fought for. Not nearly enough, but it's hard to negate those. My concerns about the lawsuit itself are some of the information that Mr. Daggett has given us. With all due respect, FSBA has given us some information that directly conflicts that. One of those items is that each district that joins is going to be required to put, over time, $300,000 into it. That's a concern of mine. Additionally, that a number of the districts that have already voted to join this lawsuit are now taking the some of the money that has been allocated for Schools of Hope, which there are some indications that those things will cause the lawsuit to be thrown out, because they're taking money that's in the bill, funding that's in the bill, and yet they're fighting against it. And then there's questions about that. And then my other concern is that the lead attorney, the one attorney that group has selected to represent this, is not licensed to practice in the state of Florida. And so that's a real concern of mine. But clearly, and I understand the sentiments. I support all of our employees. I know how hard our teachers work, our support employees, and I want to see some of these things gone. But I do fight for public education every day. That's why I'm here where I am this week, instead of home in our own district. And I think there's other ways to fight. I don't think you always have to join a lawsuit to fight, but I do have those concerns that I expressed.
All right, thank you.
If I may,
Yes, Ms.
quick
Bola.
add something. Ms. Condon, I was also in that conversation with Ruth Melton from the Florida School Board Association. And after I was dropped off that conversation, I checked back with her regarding that amount of $300,000. And the bottom line was that she felt that given the number of, and that was a total cost for the entire lawsuit. That was not an individual cost for each of the counties. So there was a misunderstanding there.
And just for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
Can I clarify that was not a sunshine violation, that Ms. Bola and I were on a separate conference call with an entire legislative delegation?
I'm agreeing with you right now, Ms. Condon. I'm shaking my head up and down, yes. Mr. Daggett just agreed with us, by the way.
was glad to hear that.
I just wanted, the way you said it, Ms. Bola, it came across that you and I were having a conversation with Ruth, and I would not do that, and I know you would not either, so.
No, in fact, I contacted Ruth directly without you being involved with it to make certain that I understood what the background of that was. My other comment, we've spent 1.3, if I'm not mistaken, million on a charter school that failed.
Per year.
Excuse me, to the chair, we spent 4.16.
Thank you.
On a charter school total in those 3 years that did not provide quality experiences to kids.
And if I'm not mistaken, if I can continue with this vein, the money that was procured by that charter school from the federal government was based on charter school funding, if I'm not mistaken, and anything that was purchased by that charter school, we had to go pick up.
Right.
We are still storing.
But guess what?
We used our people to go pick it up. They did not have it prepared. We are storing it ourselves. And if indeed someone from, since Orange Park High School is the school of choice tonight, let's say somebody from Orange Park High School needed something that particular charter school, even though it was an elementary school for the most part, that they could use. We're not allowed to use that.
That's right.
Because it was purchased with some charter school funds.
And they can make
I
other charter
understand,
schools.
I understand the whole financial aspect of that this is not necessarily feeding into just charter schools. 7069 has a lot of layers. And unfortunately, it's coming down to, looking at it and saying, can we afford $25,000? Yes. When I'm looking at what we've already spent, $25,000 is a drop in the bucket, and I hate to say that in front of Dr. Legutko because I know she's rolling her eyes at me, but it's something that we need to stand up to and say this is worth it to us.
I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, Ms. Bola. Any further discussion? All right. I'm sorry?
Are you going to talk?
I think everybody's covered it.
Amazing. Let's vote.
All right, I'm ready. We have a motion by Ms. Bola, a second by Ms. Studdard. And this is to authorize to join the statewide litigation regarding House Bill 7069 with the amount of $25,000. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No.
Motion carries 3-2. Mrs. Bola, thank you for changing your mind. Last month, I think you were not in favor of it when we were talking about the money, so I
No, it wasn't that I wasn't in favor of it. When it came up, I wasn't prepared for the discussion. And as I like to get prepared before I vote.
All right.
Ms. Condon, she's not marked as voted.
I think,
Is Ms. Bush voting for her?
yes, Ms. Bush has
Yes.
hers, yes. Our next item.
When I tried to vote electronically, it knocked the camera offline, so she's voting for me electronically.
All right, so we have no special actions. Mr. Daggett, I can't remember if you had comments, if you needed to ask for a
Madam
shade
Chair.
meeting or...
Madam Chair, there is one special action on.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right,
Okay, I
okay.
just logged out.
Item D3, Human Resource Special Action A. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Gilhousen, second by Ms. Bola. Any discussion? No, hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries 5-0. Sorry, Mr. Broski. It was even written here in my notes that we had one.
Just gave me a heart attack, that's all.
Sorry. Now, Mr. Daggett, did you have any comments?
I do not.
All right. Mr. Superintendent?
I do. I was trying not to break your momentum, but I was trying to tap in a little bit. But
I'm sorry.
it's okay. No worries. And at the end of the day, it's the board's decision on the decisions just made to join. I think I was the first one to speak out against the 7069. I put it in written fashion. I sent out communications to teachers. I talked to parents. I talked to legislators. I talked to everyone. I pushed and pushed and pushed. Last meeting, I openly said that I think that we only had 4 or 5 districts involved and engaged, and I said openly that let's see if more individuals had a greater sense of understanding, more money to be able to put in this and see if they get in order for us to make a decision. I spoke for the pros and the cons both of this and decided maybe that we wanted to pause before we jumped into this. But I can tell you, it's been weighing on me, and I've had multiple conversations with people, and I haven't spoken about this in probably a month to maybe Mr. McCauley and some of my staff members, and recently my wife. And I was going to just allow the board to continue the work, but I want everyone in here who wore purple tonight to know I stand with you. I stand with you. I am... I'm built to be a public educator. I'm built to be a leader. I'm not going to sit on the sideline. So I have your back. Thank you for what you do. The decision's not a easy decision for all 5 of you. You all love teachers. You love this organization. You love what you do. I see the passion every single day for what you do. So I commend you for your stances, and I understand them. They're not easy. And I'm just excited to be the superintendent in Clay County and be able to help as many as often as I can. I would be remiss before we get out of here for me not. I didn't say anything about Jeremy Bunkley's team. Jeremy Bunkley's team has done wonders in reference to getting storm preparation back, because you can't have school without phones. So their communication, their team works rigorously, and they are awesome between Skipper and his staff. We appreciate you so very much for what you do. And then someone spoke about wireless access. They've just we have a plan, and the board approved last month to get wireless in every one of our schools. They've already completed 11 schools, I believe, in about 5 weeks. In the rest of the remaining schools, it's going to happen. The Chromebooks come this week, and they're going to be in your classrooms, and for you to work so much and so often with your kids in order to have a prescribed individual learning for your kids, for them to understand technology standards. So thank you for what you do, Jeremy, and your team, and we appreciate everyone's leadership. So thank you.
Thank you. And now it's board member comments. Ms. Gilhousen, we'll start with you.
Oh, where to begin? September has been a tragic month for Clay County in a lot of ways, and I want to commend our emergency response and emergency operations center for the incredible work that they did to protect families and give us the best outcome that we could hope for through this storm. I also want to speak to the Fleming Island High School community and the loss that you suffered, and know that we are grieving with you and the family of that young man. You're in my thoughts and prayers daily. And here's to hoping that October is a much better month.
I agree. Ms. Bola?
At our last meeting, we thanked all of our workers at our, what am I trying to say, at the high schools and the schools that were open, our shelters. I couldn't think of the word shelter. And I just wanted to say thank you again. I had a chance to visit, and hopefully that animal room is cleaned up at Orange Park High School, the school of the evening. It was impressive. I couldn't believe, it was impressive. And we have all come together as a community in so many ways, and we're grieving with a few families this month, and hopefully October will be better. I wanted to thank the superintendent. Ms. Condon and I were at a meeting. We were not allowed, by the way, to sit at the same table. So that we didn't get to talk about anything. But we were at a meeting, a forum on policy for school board members, and a forum on boardsmanship. and it was very timely as they would discuss different aspects of policy, and we'd catch each other's eye and go, we need to, you know, bring this to the next board meeting. And then we got an email from our superintendent saying, we're going to have a workshop on policy. So I am looking forward to that workshop on policy, and hopefully perhaps more than one, depending on how we can get involved with the many, many pages of policy that we have as a school board. And I would like to also request a workshop on our legislative priorities. It is time. The legislature is going to be meeting soon. I will be attending a meeting actually in Alachua County that was scheduled for Tallahassee later in October for our legislative agenda. So from the Florida School Board Association, it would be, I think, very practical for us to seriously consider that sometime before then as well. Other than that, thank you all for everything, all that you do, and for coming back to school after being gone a week. Cannot be easy, and I know a lot of you are still thinking about a lot that's going on at home while you are working and helping our children, but keeping children first and foremost. That's what's so incredibly cool about this county. Thank you all.
Ms. Condon, would you go next, please?
Sure. I would echo the sentiments of both Mrs. Ola and Mrs. Gilhausen, and I would just like to add that because the two main jobs of the school board are policy and budget, I would hope that our school board attorney would be involved in our policy going forward on that policy review. He was not on that email and didn't seem to be involved in the work on it. I forwarded it to him because I felt like that was appropriate. I'd like for him to review those when they come to us, and I understand, Mr. Superintendent, that was just a cursory timeline that you had put out, so I know that he will be involved. And then I would like to personally thank the IT staff getting this set up going today has not been an easy task, and they worked with me yesterday. We practiced some, and so I just really appreciate that team. And I won't name them all by name because I'm sure I would leave someone out, and that would be embarrassing, but I do appreciate every single one of you, and it's been nice getting to know you. And then I would just like to let the public know what I am doing in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you said it earlier, Ms. Karakas, because that's when it cut out. We had a delay issue, but I am at a federal issues and advocacy conference working on with about 10 people. I am the vice chair for Florida School Board Association Federal Relations Committee, and what we're working on are Florida-specific issues. We're asking specifically for more funding for Title I, Title II, IDEA. We're asking for funding and support for healthcare issues, including health insurance, Medicaid reimbursement, Florida's ESSA state plan, which we were required to have submitted back to the federal DOE last month, and we worked on that, and then the waivers that go along with that, and asking for additional funding for school and nutrition services. So I still have email access and phone access if someone needs me or has any additional federal issues you would like for me to advocate for while I'm up here. I'll be happy to do that. Please email me or call me. And I know I won't list all the people we're meeting with, but specifically tomorrow we're meeting with Senator Bill Nelson, and then Thursday Senator Marco Rubio from Florida, as well as a number of other delegates. So it should be, hopefully, bring back some more funding.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that you're there, and we're glad that this worked out, that you were able to be a part of this meeting tonight. Ms. Studdard?
As y'all have said before, this has been a tough few weeks. I still feel like crying when I think about our kids, our students. I worry about our employees, the ones who were flooded, the kids who've lost their homes. There's so many things, but I am so proud of this district. I mean, everybody rose to the occasion. the milk of human kindness was out there and helping each other. That's what it's all about. I'll say again, we're family, and boy, did that prove it. We are family. And Addison, when I saw that Facebook post of you out there at CCEA, I thought, good Lord, we are family. This is good. You know, everybody can get together. We can fuss and fight a little bit, but when the chips get down, we're there for each other. That's what it's all about. And on a lighter note, I want to congratulate the Gators. I think that they're going to have cardiologists in the stands every week, because the last 2 weeks I'm not a Gator, and I was about to have a heart attack. I mean, good grief. That is ridiculous. I will not mention the Seminoles. I feel bad for them. Mr. McCauley is hanging his head in shame. But I do want to tell you that there was another game that was played, and the score was 59-0, and I just bet money that they won't talk smack, trash to the Gators. I think they're playing them this weekend, so I think that the Gators won't get trash talk, from those guys. I think they finally learned their lesson. So I'm just going to say, roll tide, good night.
I knew that was how she was going to end that.
You know, if we ever lose, I might want to be at the next meeting.
Oh, funny. I have a couple of things. So, October is National Bullying Prevention Month.
Yes, Ms. Stoddard.
Huh?
October is National Bullying Prevention Month.
Pay attention. Don't bully the professor. I'm actually reading this that he sent to me.
You're bad.
Oh, there are activities planned throughout the month, including guest speakers at some schools, district-wide student PSA video contest, and National Unity Day on October 25th, when we should all wear orange to show that we are together against bullying. Oh, boy. Well, Orange Park High School will be set with their orange. So for October, there will also be something on our agenda next month addressing just a small little brief something talking about the activities and things that will be going on, and maybe we'll put Mr. McCauley on the spot and make him speak. Thank you for that. And then something that was brought to my attention by two parents that are on our district advisory committee. The 2 years are up, and we need to choose new people. It's a one term, which is a 2-year term, and it's supposed to be an elementary parent, a secondary parent, and a business partner from each of our districts. So, Mr. Davis, I had mentioned it to you and to Ms. Dennis today, and maybe you can post the application again, advertise it, and bring it back to the board. You won't have time by the October meeting, so maybe we'll have some applicants who would like to apply. So anybody who would like to apply to be on our district advisory committee, please go on our website, fill out an application, and it'll be sent to each of the board members based on where you live as to who they select. And on that, I think we really do need to look closely at our insurance. Ms. Smith, I heard you loud and clear. I know that when the rates go up, your pay goes down. And this was a huge increase this year. And so we as a board really need to address it in one way or another. We need to discuss it, put something on our agenda, take a vote. We need to move forward with some relief for our employees. So, and then the last thing was just, I'd like to echo everybody's sentiments about these last couple of weeks and how our district really did come together as a family and step it up. And I know that Dr. Kemp and Mr. McCauley and Mr. Davis and others were out driving around when there was a curfew on, and they probably shouldn't have been, and checking everything out. And I just want to say thank you, because I know you could have been home with your families and dealing with the leaky roof in the laundry room. And you guys were all out there taking care of our district and our schools. And, you know, I know everybody, there was so many more people who really did help. And then, again, all of our families that really have lost so much. I appreciate what you did, Mr. Davis, with the donations and payroll and everything. And so I just wish the best for everybody. So anyway, thank you for tonight. On that, our meeting is adjourned.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I don't think everybody out there can see, I have a purple shirt on too.
What'd she say?
What'd she say?
Oh, she's wearing purple. Woo, very good. All right. Anything else, Ms. Condon?
No, thank you. Good night.
All right. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.